a cane that is used by not just seniors, but disabled persons or any person who wants to have a perfect prepper SHTF self-defense tool that you can carry with you just about anywhere you can go. This is also a favorite choice, but I'm asked this question all the time: which is the better self-defense tool? Which is better, the self-defense cane or the homemade self-defense walking stick? I want to talk about how they're similar, how they're the same, and then we'll talk about how they're different. And then together, we'll figure out which one is the best of the two. Cane versus walking stick. Which is the better self-defense prepper tool? So you have both cane and walking stick are about the same length. They're 36 inches. That's a standard size, and you can get them longer, you can get them shorter, you can always cut them down, of course. But 36 inches is about the standard length. Now, the way that they're the same or similar, hey D, it's good to see you. They're made of the same material usually. This one, good afternoon, Matthew. This one, the walking cane, the top one, is made out of oak. This walking stick, which is just basically a homemade version of a walking stick, it's a dowel rod. It's also made out of oak. You can get these made out of hickory. You can get these made out of hickory. Hello, Awkward the Cats, good to see you. We're talking about cane versus walking stick, which is the better when stuff hits the fan, SHTF, which is the better prepper self-defense tool. Or if you use it, you're a senior, if you do senior self-defense, which self-defense tool is better for seniors? Which is better for disabled persons? Which is better for somebody who wants to be the gray man or gray woman and just blend in and not carry something that's so obvious, but can use it immediately for self-defense? Now that's how they're similar. Let's talk about how they strike and how they're similar in that way. Starting with your walking stick. This is also the same length as a Japanese hanbo. So this has been around for years and years as a self-defense tool. Hello, Simon, it's good to see you. If I have my hand on it in this position here, this is the walking stick, I simply point it at the threat, and then I can immediately thrust to address the threat. From here, thrusting straight in, I can strike the eyes, the nose, the mouth, anything I can remove for self-defense. Anything I can destroy or remove with this thrusting motion. After the thrusting motion, you also have this chopping motion. So you're gonna chop down this way. You can slide your hand down and bring this forward, striking to the other side of the head. I showed in a training video yesterday how to block, how to bring it into this position and then strike on top, or this position and thrust, or this position and bring it through very forcefully, cracking the skull for self-defense, turn off their operating system. Now, those are just some of the ways that you can use the walking cane for self-defense, or the walking stick. You can also slide your hand down the back and bring it in for a simple thrust, going right into eyes, nose, mouth, anything you can remove or destroy for self-defense, their ability to see, breathe temporarily or permanently, their ability to stand up and breathe, striking here, going lower. You can strike this way. You can turn. It's like a punch. Your thumb turns over, and then this comes up and along the side of the head, or into an arm, breaking maybe that upper arm into the ribs, striking into the legs. You can also bring it to the front hand here and thrust just like this. Hello to Canada, it's good to see you. Now those are some of the ways that you can use the walking stick, also known as the Japanese hanbo. But what is the perfect prepper self-defense tool for SHTF? Is it the walking stick, good afternoon, or is it the walking cane? Let me show you some of the ways that you use the walking cane, because some are similar, but a lot are different. So, and that's the biggest confusion. I think that's why people get confused with the question, which is better, cane versus walking stick? Because they seem like the same thing. They're the same length. They're essentially the same material. This one's a little bit thicker, so it's heavier. If this were made out of oak, or this is made out of oak, if it were made out of hickory, it would hit harder. This one hits harder now because it's heavier, but let's say they're the same diameter. Walking cane self-defense versus walking stick self-defense. Which is the better option? Now, with the cane, using the cane for mobility, it's usually in your hand this way with the crook facing back, or you can turn it around crook facing out. And we'll talk about both those ways as we go through the basic striking. From this position, one of the first most effective, most explosive ways to strike I know I'm gonna hit myself there. You have to look at your target. But you bring it up, smack right between the legs. If you go and you miss between the legs, you strike up under the chin. Maybe they're reaching in to punch, you strike that arm, you strike the head. But if you go up very quickly, you can catch them off guard. Now that's with the crook facing back, or if you turn and you have the crook facing forward. Hello, Carlton. It's good to see you. Thank you for your compliment. You're gonna bring this up in the same way. So whether the crook is facing forward, snatch it up, or back, it's the same basic technique. You're turning the wrist, you're lifting the forearm, and you're lifting the shoulder. So it's accelerating all throughout that strike. And you can see when I miss that, because I'm not looking there, I'm looking at you. When you miss, it creates a lot of energy. You won't necessarily hit yourself, but that's why you should practice. Practice missing and controlling that move. But if you do miss here and happen to hit him under the chin, that's also an effective technique. Now, another way you can use this for self-defense, the walking cane. We're talking about walking cane self-defense versus walking stick self-defense. Which is the better option? If you're a prepper and you're looking for self-defense tools that you can carry with you every single day, these are excellent options, but there are differences. We're gonna talk about which is better though. And so, Awkward the Cat says every time we talk about this between the legs shot, that makes him laugh or fall out of the chair. Absolutely, it's just a horrible thing to think about being on the receiving end of that, but it's a very effective technique. Now, from here, you can also bring this up and your hand will slide down just a little bit, and that gives you basically a long sword or like a wooden sword, a basic fighting stick, something like that. So you're able to thrust, you're able to come around striking from one side to the other side. You can also bring it into your chest and push. Now I'm gonna have to pause for just a second. I'll be right back. I think someone's at the back door. I'm back. We're expecting a delivery. I think I missed him. He'll have to get me next time. Thanks for sticking around. All right, so I'm in this position. I have that basic thrusting motion. I can slice, strike the other way. You have all of these basic angles. You have thrusting motions. You can go to the legs. You can go to the top of the head. You can grab it with the other hand and do your bayonet attacks, rifle butt strikes with the big crook, and you can shove and come straight in this way. So the cane, yeah, I'm sorry guys, I disappeared. I thought someone was at the back door and I was expecting, we're setting up the new school. I was expecting a couple people to make some drop-offs today, some deliveries. So from here, I get in a better position, I thrust. Now you're fighting almost like a short sword or like a Japanese sword, like a katana, or more appropriately, like the wooden bokken. But you're fighting with one hand or you put the other hand on it. Another way you can carry it is with the crook facing out, and you pop it up and it's in this position. And this reminds me more of the, DR says, like to get a bayonet for the cane. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about whether that's gonna change the scenario when we talk about cane versus walking stick, which is the better prepper SHTF self-defense tool. You can thrust here. This is like a big knuckle, a fist to the face, right? This reminds me of the Irish shillelagh. The Irish fighting stick, the Irish shillelagh has been around for 1,000 years, just like a lot of these, the cane self-defense, whether it's cane fu or cane keto or hapkido cane, they've been around for a long time, but probably the Irish fighting stick's been around a little bit longer, but you have thrusting here, right to the face, you're hooking into the side of the head, into the neck, and you into the ribs. You break those ribs, right? You can pop it into that other hand. You can go into those rifle bayonet attacks again, but you can also then thrust and strike and chip and rip with this tooth right here. So this part here, that beveled edge, is unique because the crook is unique. On the cane, you have the crook. You don't have the crook on the walking stick. Now, when it comes to like takedowns and joint locks and pressure points, those kinds of techniques, they exist with both weapons. I don't teach those anymore, and it's simply because Most of the people I work with want to learn the cane or the walking stick for self-defense. They're not interested in learning the esoteric qualities of the weapon, the martial arts side of things. And so they just want to know what works. What can I do immediately? Stick him, put him on the ground, thrust through his body, bring it through his head, right? Down on top, reach in, rip, and thrust, and pull something off of him for self-defense. That's what people want to learn from me now, not necessarily, and I still do some forms where we're moving and, you're learning combinations for fun and for disguising repetition, but it's more about, the Irish Ninja Hanbo, Awkward Cat says, talking about the shillelagh. Self-defense, I'm teaching self-defense. I don't care so much about all of the cool, I love the martial arts for the martial arts, but self-defense is not martial arts, it's different. And self-defense cane, self-defense walking stick have unique qualities and characteristics that are not shared on the martial arts side. And a lot of the martial arts moves that include all of those small circles, like small circle jiu-jitsu, all that stuff works. All the twisting and turning and pulling it up behind his back and twisting it up between his legs, and all that stuff works, but you have to be really practiced. You have to practice a lot, over and over and over. So much so, and you have to be strong, and you have to be youthful, and you can do all that stuff, but it's so much more effective to stick him on the ground, stick him through his stomach, and knock him out in 2 or 3 strikes and be done with the fight, instead of trying to trade blows and jump and rope and do whatever it is. All that other extra stuff that go with the martial arts sides of things, I just don't do as much. Bruce says, one thing with the cane is the tooth. It's a great back scratcher. Yes, absolutely. More than once, we've all scratched an itch with that. But speaking of back scratchers, you don't have to hit him in the face. You can you can take his eye out of his face, his nose off his face, his ear, stick it through his ear. You can do a lot of damage for self-defense, but you can also reach in and snatch somebody down. If you happen to be in a wheelchair and you use your cane for self-defense, the wheelchair, come up and strike along the side of the neck, and then rip and pull him down to yours, and drive the other elbow for self-defense. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the cane that you can't do with the walking stick because of the crook. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do with the walking stick that you can't do with the cane because it does not have a crook. So things like changing hands and coming through in different positions, all of the ease of use and the fast ways that you can thrust and move and strike. You can do a lot of that with your cane, but because you don't have this on either side, you're allowed to do a lot of, or you're able to do a lot of things that you can't do because the hook is in the way. Now, the final question, the biggest question, the most important thing when we talk about cane self-defense versus walking stick self-defense is which one can you take with you everywhere you go, including into a train station, onto the train, into a bus station, onto the bus, into a bank, into the courthouse, into your kid's school. Which one can you take through TSA, through the metal detector, put it on the conveyor, send it through, come out the other end and pick up and walk to your gate, sit down, and you might have to stick it in the overhead bin or whatever, but which one can you have with you just about everywhere you possibly go, and which one are they gonna take from you because it's just a long stick, right? This looks more like a weapon. This is a medical device. And that, for me, settles it. That's why the cane, in my opinion, yes, bearded gentlemen, and I agree, the cane is the perfect Prepper SHTF self-defense tool for when you want to blend in with a crowd, when you want to have something that you take with you everywhere you go. Now, I also carry this. I've got one of these in my car. I have the thinner version of this because I was teaching somebody off-site, and I just left it in the back of the car. It's all the way in the back. It's out of arm's reach, so I know that if I get stopped by law enforcement, they're not going to say, oh, you've got a weapon in the back. They'll just say, oh, you have a dowel rod in the back. Why do you have a dowel rod? Say, well, I'm getting ready to do some woodwork. I like to whittle, whatever. But if he asks me, he's not going to ask me, why do you have a cane? This sits next to me on the passenger side of the car. If I have this on the passenger side of the car, they think that I must think I'm Sheriff Buford T. Pusser and walking tall, and I'm going to get out, start cracking some heads. And so this, even though it's a great tool, you can carry it with you if you go for a walk, and you can make it fancy. You don't have to have this. You can have an Irish shillelagh, and my Irish shillelaghs, thanks to Doug who sent them to me, have lead in the one end, and they're that blackthorn, and those things are indestructible, and they hit so extremely hard. And those are real fighting sticks. So I'm a big proponent, but I always say both. But I understand that it gives me more options than this does. So if it's cane, walking cane self-defense, walking cane versus walking stick, which is the better Prepper SHTF self-defense tool, in my opinion, and I'm not always right. This is just what I know and what I think from all my training or whatever, and learning and talking to others, is this. All the training that I do with my students, a lot of whom now use the cane, whether they use it for mobility or it's just an extra tool. And a lot of them in their 70s now who are walking with this, they're getting stronger and fitter every day in their body, and they don't need the cane. If they ever needed it, they need it less now, but they like to have it as an option, either for an option one day, or if they go on a trip, they've got this that they can take with them. No one's going to take it away because of what it is. It's a medical device. And as long as you don't have a sword in the middle, right? You've seen those cane swords that come out. That's not what you're doing. You're not just concealing a sword and trying to get that through TSA. That's not going to work. But if it's a walking cane for self-defense versus a walking stick for self-defense, this one will win, in my opinion, because you have the option of taking this with you everywhere you go. This you cannot take with you in many, many places. This will be taken away from you when you try to go into a bank, right? Or into a courthouse, or try to get on a plane. There's no way you're carrying this onto the plane. Not a dowel rod. Even if it were nicer and you hand carve it and you put a little walking thing on the bottom and it has a little thing here on the top that makes it look good. Good to see you too, Bob. Thank you. But this, even with that beveled edge right there, and this is made out of oak. You can see in the first link below how these are made, what the dimensions are, and how relatively inexpensive these are. These are really inexpensive considering the fact that they're not going to break, and you're going to have this forever. And you spend about $40 for something like this, or splurge and get yourself a fancy looking one that I like, the one I carry in my car, which has a lot of nasty features on it that is still legal to take onto the trade. It's called the Quantum Traveler. It's the first link below. But I want to finish with this, because this can be done with the cane or your walking stick. This is just a resistance band, and I also put this in the link after the description. And you whip this around your back. And this is for those of you who are stuck inside again. It's not even stuck inside. Let me tell you the true story. I went to a local, I won't call it the name. It's a big, well-known national brand that it's not the biggest national brand, but it's like all the other ones. It's like the Purple Gym. So I went to a gym. I don't have a gym to work out in. I like to sometimes do different machines or weights, or I need a treadmill or whatever. I tell myself I want to join the gym, and so I always go and I look for a gym, and I almost have a seizure. I go in there, and the music's boom, 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 and all of the people are taking selfies of themselves, and they're sitting on the equipment, texting or making the lips, and it turns my stomach. Hey, Richard, it's good to see you. So I keep trying to join a gym, and I can't. I just can't join the gym. Good to see you, Bob. So I've learned how to do a lot of workouts. I don't know if you can see back there. I've got a couple dumbbells. I had the kettlebells out. I have a private lesson coming in a little bit. We're gonna do a lot of battle ropes tonight to get the heart rate up, burn some fat. You can see I have the big medicine balls in the back. I keep trying to go to the gym. I can't join the gym because it's just so obnoxious in there. And I know I should be able to get out of my own mind and get my ego out of the way, but I can't stand having to wait for some equipment. And then all of the millennials, and it's not just millennials, it's people my age, walking around, do you mind if I, oh, sorry, man, oh, sorry. All of the sorry, all of the little, it just, it brings out the anger, the meanness in me, where I want to say, hey, buddy, knuckle up, buttercup. You need to get your testosterone flowing, or whatever. And men and women, same thing. The women are working out harder than the men. I see women these days lifting weights heavier than the men. I just saw it today. I went to the gym, and I'm in there, and the women are over there, powerlifting, and the guy's over there, and all he's doing is working his arms. Anyway, that's my own hang up, right? The point is, I couldn't join the gym. The girl said, well, what do you think? I said, honestly, I got to get out of here. I'm freaking out. This is not for me. I said, thank you so much. You were so kind. You answered all my questions. This is not my gym. This is my gym. This is my gym. And all you need is resistance and time under tension. And for time under tension, we're just pushing. And this is like a standing push-up, right? You can do this anywhere you are and everywhere you are. And you just have to breathe with it, slow it down enough so that you feel it. And depending on which resistance bands you have or you get, and they're not expensive, you get one of those and you use this with either your cane or the walking stick, same thing. And so for less than 20 bucks, if you get yourself a good dowel rod, sand it down, put some oil on it, or you already have a cane, and spend about 10 bucks for one of these bands, there's your gym membership. That'll last you 2 or 3 years because you're not going to break this thing. So you're going to do this, and I want you to go for time under tension. Matthew says, great resistance workout. Thank you, Matthew. And again, the link is below. If you want to see how much a cane costs or how much, get some bands sent to your house, go to those links below. But after 30 seconds, rest. That's the first set. Now, blood's going to start to flow into your muscles. Your heart rate's going to start to lift a little bit. You're going to start to burn fat. And you're going to be doing something. You're going to be taking some action, making yourself healthy. And then the second thing is pushing down. So now you're activating the lower part of the chest. You're still going to feel it in your triceps. You're going to feel it in your shoulders, in your forearms, in your hands. And because you're standing, or if you have to sit, you can do this sitting up. But because your body is upright, you're activating more of the muscles in your body. This muscle activation isn't just good for your overall fitness, it's good for your brain. You activate all the muscles in your body. Your brain lives in your body. It's all connected. The more you do for your body, the more you do for the brain. And through all of the recent, I can't even say the words anymore because they keep kicking people off of YouTube and demonetizing people. But all of the things that are going on since last March or back into the year before, if you look at where it came from, all of that silliness and the shutdowns that have come back in so many places, the best thing you can do is work out and exercise. And so they've taken away so much exercise from so many people. They won't even let people outside to walk anymore in some places. So if you're stuck inside and there's 30 seconds, I think, it was either more or less, but about 30 seconds, you start to change your body very quickly and you create the right chemistry in your body to stay healthier longer. And all the science, if they let the science through, depending on what their version of science is, shows, but the real science shows that the exercise is good for you, and the leaner you are, the healthier you are. Richard, thank you for that donation. That really helps. I'm in here in the new space. I'm waiting for occupancy before I can legally open things up and start bringing people in. But so I'm kind of behind. I have bills, and so that extra money when you guys watch these and you share these and give me the thumbs up and you make those donations, that really helps. So thank you. I really appreciate that. Now the third set, you're going to push up, and this is going to activate the upper part. Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate that. Richard says, love the cane teaching. This activates the upper part of your chest. A lot of Hollywood people, not that I'm a big fan of Hollywood, I'm not. I used to be when John Wayne, as a kid, I loved John Wayne. I loved a lot of those guys. Great looking space. Solid Snake says, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I wish I would have made the move earlier, but the recent events in the last year and a half really shook my confidence a little bit and I hesitated, which I don't like to do, but I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. We all hesitated a little bit. I would have gotten out of the last location and moved here sooner, but this wasn't open. I'll just say it, COVID killed this place. This was a boxing gym for Parkinson's patients. And you know, boxing is amazing if you have Parkinson's. It's one of the best things you can do. Any exercise if you have Parkinson's is amazing. But most people with Parkinson's are much older, and all of the fear, and if you're 70 plus, if you're 89 or older, or 80, I think 79, 80 is the median age of COVID deaths in the United States, you have something to be afraid of, right? Especially if you don't treat it and you just wait for a few weeks until, you know, you're full blown. And I think that's what, you know, they know that that's what's happened. But anyway, so I had to wait for this to come open. Nathaniel says, nice looking workout area. Yeah, so I don't know if everybody has it available, but there's something called a SuperChat or a sticker, and it should be in the chat box. You just click it, and then it gives you an option, give a couple bucks or whatever you want to do. And I don't know, maybe you guys know, is that available for everybody, a SuperChat? And then, so you're gonna put this under your bum, right? And then you're gonna roll your hips back. And I also have Patreon. If you can find me on Patreon, that's a great way too. And I appreciate all you guys who are members, Patreon, all the donations, that really helps. We're gonna roll the hips back and then curl. And I want you to squeeze at the top. And again, these are all about time under tension. So the longer you can hold it and do the motion, keep tension on the muscles, and the more you push down. Now that's one way to do it. Here's another way, because you might not be able to throw it under your hips like that. That might not work for you. Oh yeah, there it is. Thank you, Nomad. That's a super sticker or a super chat, depending on where you are, how that's listed. If you step on it or you anchor it, and I have worked with someone in a chair, in a wheelchair, and we worked on what's the best anchor. So in his house, he had a weight on the ground. It was a heavy weight, and he wrapped or not a weight, it was like a hook. He wrapped it around the hook, like it's part of a table, and he could put it under that. And so if you look around, you'll find a good anchor on the floor, and you're gonna curl. And the wider your feet are, the more resistance you have. But it doesn't have to be a lot of resistance. It's about time under tension. And when you bring it up, really squeeze the bicep muscles. Make sure your stomach is up and in, drop your chin, breathe through your nose and mouth. And when you hold it at the top for a second, you get extra blood into those biceps, and you're going to get an improvement in the strength of your strikes. You're gonna look leaner, you're gonna be stronger, you're gonna hit harder. And you can do that with this. Let's try it with the walking stick. We were talking about walking cane versus walking stick. Which is the best self-defense prepper tool for when stuff hits the fan? Is it walking cane self-defense, or is it walking stick self-defense? And we talked about a lot of the different strikes, but now we're just working on how to improve strikes, no matter which one you choose. You might choose the cane because you can take it everywhere you go. That's why I said I thought it was superior. You might take this because this just fits your personality better. Thank you, Nathaniel. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that donation. You might say, I don't want to carry a cane. I don't feel like I need it. I don't want people to look at me a certain way. I'm going to carry this. Or if you're like me, you don't care what people think. Really don't care what they think. And you're going to carry whatever it is that is best for you and to protect yourself and protect your family. But who cares? You know, whatever it is, you might just prefer the Japanese hanbo or the self-defense walking stick. Or maybe, like me, you've got a whole bunch of Irish shillelaghs. Somebody like Doug sent me these Irish shillelaghs. They're beautiful. I got one now in the car. You step on that. The second way I want you to do these curls is turn your palm down. And that's going to activate the muscles and build strength in the top part of your arm, the lower part, your forearm, when you keep your elbows in and you squeeze and hold. I'm going to squeeze and hold. And again, this is for 30 seconds. You're just doing it over and over and over. The goal is as much blood into the muscle in the forearm as you can. You want time under tension. With all that time under tension, your body will start to change, start to grow. And it grows not just, it's not about like big muscles. You're not trying to become a bodybuilder in the gym. This isn't going to work for that. You want a lean, fast, explosive, powerful muscle to knock somebody out for self-defense. This is going to work for that. You're going to get more explosive speed, power, everything in here. I want to show you, going back to the chest, one of my favorite exercises too, which is kind of a compound exercise. And one of the ways, if someone grabs your stick or your cane while you're defending yourself, one of the best ways to get them off is to turn, to go from a horizontal position to a vertical position. And so with this, you're gonna push, and then while you're holding it out, you're gonna turn it so that one hand is up and the other one is down. And you can see I am perpendicular, right? And then you're gonna bring it back to neutral or horizontal, bring it in, and then turn it the other way. And so this is gonna be slow. And breathing. Breathe out. And lock your arms every time. And you're gonna be quickly amazed and surprised with yourself with how strong your grip is gonna become. And meaning, so that it's gonna be harder for them to take it out of your hand anyway, but you're gonna get such strength in your shoulders, your chest, your back, and this is gonna make you sweat. You're gonna lean out faster. But this is the basic motion. And 30 seconds of this is really gonna add up fast. It's all time under tension, but you're moving. You're not just lifting weights in the gym. You're moving in a way to build the muscle that you need to defend yourself. This is all practical self-defense exercise. This is all the kind of strength building that you need to be practically strong, physically strong, utilitarian muscle, or utility, I don't know what the proper term is, but muscle that works, right? Not just pretty muscles, not gym muscles, but bust somebody in their face, tell them to get out of your face, and when they don't, back it up for self-defense. But being stronger, here's another secret. It's not really a secret though. Yeah, Richard says you can find sticks anywhere. Authorities may consider it a legal weapon. Not in Florida, of course. But, and Richard's right. This, they can't, in the United States, we have the Health Information Protection Act, which means that no one can ask you. Someone asked me the other day, are you vaccinated? And I said, respectfully, none of your business. And not in a mean way, not rude, but that's my personal private information. And you can't say that in certain situations, law enforcement or whatever, or if there are certain well-defined reasons that say you can't. But for the most part, you can't ask me why I need this cane. That's my personal medical information. Second, the Americans with Disabilities Act, the same one that widened all the doorways so that wheelchairs can get through, that put pull bars and push bars in on doors and lowered sinks and made it available, so that a person in a wheelchair can get in, or a person on a walker, or a person who's otherly able in many different ways. The Americans with Disabilities Act protects your right to take this anywhere and everywhere, so you can carry it with you. You can't carry the stick. That's what we were talking about earlier. But green drink, wheatgrass. I needed a sip. I've been teaching since 9 o'clock this morning. The resistance band, that's a great question. How long is resistance band? I don't know. It's in the link below if you want to look at it. But you can see, so the stick is 36 inches. So maybe 40, because maybe that's another 4 inches, maybe another 5 inches. So about the same length as the stick. And this is what's really cool, because I do have the other kind that attach. They're like the thin bands, resistance bands, and they have hooks on the ends and they attach to things. They're too long, and I do work out with them. but you have to anchor them on a door. You have to anchor them on a band like this. I'm going to show you just a few more since we're talking about it, because not everything has to have your cane in it, right? You can loop it. You can put one foot on it, and then you can push. You're just simply pushing away, right? So now, and you can go lower if you need more resistance. Now you're doing lunges, you're building power, stabilizing that knee. You can step on both sides and do deadlift motion or squatting. These are just some of the ways you can use the legs. Let me bring it up a little bit, because I'll show you my absolute favorite exercise that gets your heart rate up, makes you super lean and powerful. Talk about powerful punching. All punches, all kicks, all knockout power comes from the ground, from the floor up, right? So you have to have solid legs. And if you don't have solid legs, you have to have a solid core at least. And you can still generate massive knockout power. But if you step on it, I'm going to show you, the nice thing is you can see in the mirror now, I'm just stepping on it, and I'm going to bring my elbows in, and I sit back. And when you do that, keep your bum behind your knees, just push your hips back, and then up. And you can isolate and just work on the shoulders, or my favorite is exhale, explode. And you do that for 30 seconds. When you do that for 30 seconds, your heart rate goes up, you're lean out, you're gonna burn a lot of fat, but you're gonna get wicked strong. It's gonna activate the upper part of your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, your arms, your forearms, your core muscles, your whole body is involved. And standing in the same position, I like to, and always keep the elbows close to the body. Bring it here and squeeze at the top. Squeeze. So what I'll do, you can partner these exercises together. Maybe do 30-second set here, rest, and then bring it here so your elbows are in. And 30 seconds here, rest, and then go down. And 30 seconds there, or if you want to give the shoulders a rest, 30 seconds there. The key is, start with, and the width of the band is the resistance. So the thinner it is, the less resistance it is. This is a kind of a medium-sized band. Let me show you. I'll take you with me this time so you don't think I'm running out the back door again. But I'll show you. I've got a lot of these. This is the same as the purple one. But this guy right here, and these, look at that, compared to the purple one. And the colors, unfortunately, you have to actually read the description when you go look at the link on Amazon below, because it changes all the time. So you can't go by color. But the width, see, so this is smaller, that's kind of medium, that's heavy medium, that's wicked super heavy. But what I use these for is I'll put them around an anchor, and I put one around my waist, and then I go for a run. Thank you, Matthew, I really appreciate that donation. It really helps. I'll just show you what that looks like. A few others that you can do. If you have, and you don't have to have a martial arts bag as an anchor. The camera's getting all wanky. Just looking out the window. Look at this whole wall, there's a little window so you can see out into the parking lot, so you can see if somebody's at your door. I'm gonna take this wall down though. I want people to see what's happening in here from the outside so that they come in and wanna sign up. This is the smallest one. This one, if you get this one, this is perfect for one side of the body. And practicing, because when you start to work with smaller and smaller muscle groups like your shoulders, you want less resistance. So I use a lot of that one hand with this, but I can put this one on here, and now you can practice turning. So that's that transverse motion. You can get in a good fighting stance, and you can build explosiveness into your punch. You can let it drop a little bit, pull it in, So you're doing your upright rows, but then you marry that to a squatting motion. That's going to get your heart rate up faster. You can do curling with 2 hands. You can get in a good stance. You can do a row into a curl, activate the back and the bicep. You can work just the chest. You want something that's going to fire you up, you got to start with a tiny band though, if you haven't done this before. You're going to bring this hand to this hand. You can do it low, and that's going to activate. This is all chest. Activate the lower part, bring it a little higher, bring it higher. And this is the same thing as the cables in the gym. So it's like I said, this is your gym, right? However much this costs, you have to look at the link below. I have no idea, but I know it's less than, like for one, it's usually less than $10 for the lighter, smaller ones, maybe 12, 15 bucks. Compared to, and the first question I always ask when I go into the gym, I went to the gym today to think, because I thought I was going to join, and the first thing I said, before we get into it, tell me about your cancellation policy. Because if you've ever belonged to like LA Fitness or any one of those big box gyms, they make it so hard to cancel knowing that you'll get frustrated and quit before you cancel, and then 2 or 3 months go by again, and they get you with no contracts, but it's ETF and it comes out of your thing every time, right? Yeah. Or EFT, yeah. ETF is the stock thing, right? EFT is the electronic funds transfer. So again, you figure out which one is right for you, start with the light one, or get a set and then figure out how to use each one. That's just a few. And if you really like these bands, let me know. I can do a lot of band workouts. I work out with bands in all my self-defense classes because it develops that knockout power. Like I said, you can put it, I'll get the mitts out and I'll put somebody with some gloves on, because with gloves, boxing gloves, you can hit a lot harder. I'll anchor them to one of these bags, have them put it around their waist, get in the fighting stance, and then I just have them practice the footwork first. And so you want to get really fast, or if they're not as agile, I'll have them stepping in and then going for a run. You've got the resistance. You just save yourself $1,500 for a treadmill, and it feels like a treadmill. It's weird. I don't even know why it feels like a treadmill. I think it's constant pulling back. But you can read. You have your TV up or your tablet or whatever. Distract yourself if you need to. But it's gonna get your heart rate up. You can go side to side. You know, I love doing lateral movements. And if you need the cane, use the cane for support and the band for resistance, so that you can do the motion without worrying about hurting yourself or falling down, but you're still getting the kind of workout. You're just modifying everything to make it work for you. And the only piece of equipment you have is a band, maybe your cane and or a walking stick. But you can hear, my heart rate's raising. I'm obviously sweating. I've been sweating all day. And your muscles will be stronger. You'll be leaner. You'll be more powerful. You'll be better able to defend yourself and others, which is where we started with cane, walking cane self-defense versus walking stick self-defense. I want to say thanks again for all of you who are members, all you guys who watch, everybody who participates, especially making comments. And then if you can also put the comments in the comment section below, that just helps the algorithm. I don't know how to trigger the YouTube algorithm. Every once in a while, something will do well, but I just keep making these because I like working out with you. But if you can help me figure it out, I think more comments is better, more thumbs up, more thumbs down, or any kind of interaction. That's all the good stuff. So I want to thank you guys for all of that, and I'll see you in just a little bit. I'm trying to do one a day for the month of January. That's my, like I said before, I do New Year's goals, not resolutions. And I try to do process goals and not outcome goals. Outcome goals, I want to make $1 million. I don't know how to do that, but I know how to work. So my process goal is every day I'm going to do a video. And hopefully by the end of a month, I'm better at making videos. We know more about each other and making the kind of videos you want to see. You guys have been awesome. Thanks again for all those donations, and I'll see you on the next one.